Saints at Vikings. Open Vikings -2.5. Then on Tuesdays we had pick'ems, and now the Saints are the favorites. Open at 52. On Tuesday we had 53s, back to 52s, and a couple 52.5s. Saints have been rolling. New Orleans 5-1, 5 straight wins, capable of another big playoff run. Ranked number 1 in the NFL in rush defense at just 72.3 yards per game. Michael Thomas doing what he does. Alvin Kamara, dual threat. Now they have Ingram back from suspension. Dalvin Cook didn't practice on Wednesday for the Vikings, still dealing with the hamstring injury. Latavius Murray looks good at home. He'll have to look good. The big note I have here from our show, Donnie, on Tuesday was find out about the defensive back injuries. Who is going to be good? Who is not going to be good? Sendejo still out of the lineup with a groin injury. Xavier Rhodes will likely not be there this week as he deals with an ankle injury. This is a very exciting spot. Donnie, why don't we start with you? Saints at Vikings.
You know what? When I look at this game, I just say, I can't imagine what I'm looking at for the New Orleans Saints. When did this team turn into we can shoot it out and then we can get down and dirty and run the football and play a little bit of defense? They are as impressive as it gets from an offensive standpoint. How about Sean Payton? I remember being back in the Philadelphia a couple years ago, where McNabb would get so angry that Michael Vick would come in and run the Wildcat because he wanted all the shine out here. You're looking at the best passer possibly in the history of the NFL in Drew Brees, who comes off the field in key spots because they want to bring in a quarterback to run some read option and move the chains. The offense that they're running down there is from 2035 right now for the New Orleans Saints. You want to run the football, we'll run it right down the throat. You want to run read option out here, we'll do it and do it successfully. We want to throw the football downfield, we'll do it as well. And that same injury still creeping up, Jimmy. Xavier Rhodes has to play in this football game, and he has to play well if I'm looking to back the Minnesota Vikings. It's in a dome, plays right in New Orleans. They're a dome team. Is it a tough spot to go into and say, man, they played a tough stretch here, Baltimore on the road. That took a lot out of the football team. Now they're coming in. But it just seems like New Orleans is built for this. Look at every game they've played, taking on Cleveland in a lower scoring game, shooting it out with Atlanta, beating down the Giants on the road, Washington at home, laying them out, and then going on the road down 10 points in the second half and playing very well and winning that football game against a very game Ravens team and a good Ravens team at home. I hate to say it, man. I love home teams in the NFL. I'm leaning towards the New Orleans Saints, and if you're going to give me a banged up or maybe sit it out Xavier Rhodes for this game, I might be on the Saints altogether.
Wow. A lot of people agreeing with you. Scotty Rock forever, Crypto Boss, Ziggy Balls. Tom Marino says Saints haven't played a top passing game since their secondary got hit hard earlier in the year. I think Vikings moved the ball well, idling over. And Teddy B says, Jimmy, Donnie, Whale, I'm telling you right now, Vikings will be ready for this game. Revenge or not, Breeze is 0-2 at US Bank Stadium. I got a good source every single play. That will be huge emotionally for the Vikes. Very interesting spot, Whale Capper. Saints at Vikings. A lot of injury news still needs we still need to gather. We need to figure out what's going on with Griffin. We need to figure out what's going on with Rhodes. What are you thinking here?
I'm looking for the Vikings to pick up the win. I agree with everything that Donnie laid out, and the Saints clearly have pushed all their chips on the table for this season. They've traded away, I think, every draft pick in the 2019 draft to accumulate players and talent. They clearly are looking at this roster. They think they are good enough to compete with the best of the NFL. And they're looking at the current, how Drew Brees is playing, and they're probably like, this is his last shot. So we got to go all in on it. I think enough time has passed that you're not really going to get much of a motivational angle for the Saints feeling like they got cheated out of playoff win last year. I'm not a huge revenge guy anyway. If you can't get up for Sunday night football in that dome with that crowd, stay home anyway. I don't think there's going to be any added, motivation for the Saints to exact some revenge here. You could see a little PTSD on the part of the Marcus Williams who missed that one key tackle. He hasn't played nearly as well this year as he did last year. He's going through a little sophomore slump. Marshawn Lattimore clearly is absolutely the real deal. He is an incredible quarterback, and he has a tough matchup taking Diggs out of the game. But I have no clue how they're going to cover Thielen. Thielen looks like he has an absolutely perfect matchup here. Kirk Cousins is slinging the ball extremely well. The Vikings offensive line, which was their biggest question mark coming into the season, is finally coming together now that they got their center back. And I would expect that the Vikings, like Tom Marino said, they're going to move the ball. They're going to score points. And if they can get one key stop in the fourth quarter of this game, then they're going to get a win. And if you're going to give me plus money on this team to win at home, where they have a legitimate home field advantage, I'll take it. And it's not my strongest play of the week by far. This is kind of a coin flip. But being that it's a pretty important game, and being that I think the Vikings are contenders and are players in the NFC, they're going to catch the Saints coming off of, on their second straight road game here, which I think is going to be a little bit impactful in terms of how the Saints perform. The little things to me add up in favor of the Vikings in this one. I do worry a little bit about Rhodes being out. Clearly the Vikings defense is not playing as well this year as we expected. And some of that's injury. Some of that is, they're kind of coming back to the, regressing to the mean, so to speak, in their third down stop rate was out of this world. And now it's looking more, it's looking more real. But it's going to be a fantastic game, and Vikings really, they are super scary in that that home field advantage there, and I like them to get a win this week.
Very interesting. Always exciting when you guys are going up against each other. Very exciting. Everybody here in the chat, or not everybody, most of everybody liking the over, the people who are talking about the total. I don't see anybody coming in saying under. Whale Capper, you have a feel on this total?
Boy, it's so high, but I would look over. I think maybe I think that what we saw last week with the Saints versus the Ravens was telling. First quarter of that game, there was no points. What the Saints had, like a 20-play drive. They converted 3 4th downs, and they got 0 points to start out that game. I had a large play on the under in that one, and I was feeling so good after that first drive with no points. And as soon as the going got tough, last 2 minutes of the first half, it's just boom, touchdown. And then fourth quarter, touchdown. And it was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is happening. This game is going to go over. This is ridiculous. And then Justin Tucker misses the extra point to keep that thing from going to overtime, where it certainly would have taken the game over the total. So I feel like I dodged a huge bullet there. So I'm going to stay away from the total on this one and stay away from the Saints totals in general for a little while, because I think that you could see a similar situation playing out here, where the teams feel each other out a little bit in the first quarter, first half even. And then as the game gets into the kind of deciding moments, you could see teams, really kick up. Once their hand is forced and they're going for it on 4th down and they're, getting plays in bigger chunk yardage, you could see some scoring late. So if you're looking for a total play in this one, I would probably look for either a live over if it's a low scoring first quarter, or look for a second half over, because I think both teams are going to be highly incentivized to go for it a lot in the second half of this game. And you're going to see more touchdowns and field goals. So look for later scoring in this one if you're looking at a total play.
I like that. Donnie, what do you think about this total?
Yeah, no, I think it lends itself to go over more than under, because when we're looking at both sides, contrary to the numbers, you wouldn't know New Orleans is very good against the run, because most teams just like to pass on them, and you have weapons. Kirk Cousins can sling it. Both those wide receivers are going to put up numbers regardless of who's defending them back there for the Minnesota Vikings, and vice versa. You got Drew Brees on the other side. That just lends itself to an over just because it's Drew Brees and it's a dome. The thing that's interesting about this game is how much respect that New Orleans gets now. I mean, last week I was a little bit shocked that the Ravens were opening up -2, -2.5 versus a dome team going outdoors with the New Orleans Saints, and now you're looking at this game going back in on the road after a hard-fought victory and having to pick them. Man, they are really respecting the New Orleans Saints, but I don't want any – look, you're taking Drew Brees in a dome and you're going to take the under. Good luck with that. Just check the score. Don't even watch the game and check the score at the end of it, because these two teams got weapons, man.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.